Hi, guys. So we've been asked to kind of flesh out something regarding listing a home. And I think this is important. And there were a number of shorts that we did, and I really wanted to expand on it a little bit. And Staci and I both have, these are the conversations we have at home. So let's kind of give them to you as well. Initially, when you go to list your home, my job as a realtor is to help guide you through the process and hopefully make as much money as we possibly can on that home. All too often, in my experiences, there can be pushback on things that we suggest or believe that are important to be done prior to listing the home that could make you literally thousands of more dollars than you would otherwise realize. So Staci has been with me through this, and we've seen it, and we've actually helped as a couple to get things ready for market. So let's talk about that.
You can't just have a realtor come out and say, okay, list my home. There is some prep work that's involved. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about, what makes a buyer want to buy that home and not you just selling your home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so first off, what you have to do is you have to find a realtor. And when you're looking at realtors, a lot of times you can get caught up in how glossy the CMA or their presentation is, or how nice a car they drive, or the suit they're wearing. Understand is that those things can be practiced, and it's not really relevant to you. What's relevant to you is what they're saying. And we've talked about this before, but I would offer to you is that you want a realtor who's going to present things to you that you probably already know, but may have not thought about. If we went through our home right now, there would be a list of things, right, that we would have to do. So it's not like people live in a situation usually where the home could be listed immediately. There are things that have to be done, right?
I always tell clients, a good realtor, in my mind, and all the realtors I work with, we kind of all think the same way, is when a realtor walks in your home and says, grab a pen and paper. It's not because they're going to tell you how awful your home is, but they're going to walk you through what you need to do to make your home much better for the getting ready to sell. Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's key, is that you want someone who's going to tell you the painful truth, right?
Don't take it personal.
No.
It's not personal.
And they should preface it, is that, the realtor you want is the one that says, look, this is what we do. And this would be the same for my home if I walked you through it. There are things that should be done if you want to realize the most money you can for your home. We've talked about why realtors tend to make more money on their homes when they sell them versus, say, their clients. In general, it's because realtors take their own advice. Realtors listen to themselves. They do this every day. They understand that things like dirty switch plates and baseboards can make a difference in the buyer's mind, whether the buyer recognizes it or not. And it can be to the tune of thousands of dollars. So let's move on to kind of the next thing that needs to happen, is that once you've located a realtor, then what you have to do is you have to assess the home. And the realtor will hopefully come back, set an appointment to walk with you through the house, not just the realtor telling you what to do,
but sign here,
right? But showing you and explaining. I mean, a good realtor should be willing to explain why they believe what they believe in, and in fact, eager to do so. It shouldn't be just do what I say. It should be, let me teach you as we go through this process, because I am your Sherpa, I'm your guide, and I will explain to you why I'm asking you to do the things that I'm asking you to do. Once you've created your legal pad, your list of things that need to be done, then what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll start addressing those things. Some of those things you can do, some of those things the realtor can help you with, depending on how busy that realtor is. There's all kinds of ways to get it done, but you will have created a timeline for these repairs and these things to be accomplished. The next thing that needs to happen, once you have fixed that which can be fixed, in other words, if there are light bulbs that are out, if there are light bulbs that are different colors, different temperatures. I mean, I see this all the time.
As crazy as it is, because I thought this was a little out there to make all the light bulbs match. Try it. It'll blow your mind. It makes the house look much cleaner, much brighter. It doesn't take your view off of something. It expands it throughout the whole house.
Yeah, lighting is huge. Clean windows. I mean, I know that, our attitude is once I clean the outside, they're just going to get dirty. True, but at least clean them. And certainly the inside. Usually the inside of the windows are dirtier even than the outside. It's brighter. You open the windows up, take the screens off the house. These are simple little things that the realtor can explain to you as to why. You want to make the house as bright and as cheerful and as inviting as possible. Trim the front yard so it's not a wall of hedge saying basically keep out to anybody that drives by it. This is why you're hiring us. It's to have that objective third party come in and say, this is what needs to be done that doesn't cost a ton of money. I personally have a little bit of heartburn when we start talking about large improvements like granite countertops or new cabinets. Maybe in some scenarios, but I am a person that is very attuned to how much am I going to get back from that. And most improvements, frankly, aside from maybe windows or maybe, there's certain things in different geographical areas that could matter. You may not see the return on that money. And that's also a conversation your realtor should be able to have with you, a cogent conversation, one that makes sense to everybody in the room. Okay. So now what we've done is we fixed everything that can be fixed. All the lights work, the light switches work,
Clean.
They're clean. There's no cracked switch plates or outlet covers. You get the point. Next, what we're going to do on my little list here is we're going to make sure that everything is clean and organized. Now, what I mean by clean and organized, I have a current client that is an engineer, and he's a very bright engineer, single man. I like him very much. Understand is that he lived as a single man and kind of came, you walked into his house and it really kind of felt like
Bachelor pad.
Yeah, well, it felt like crazy genius. And I really just needed to move him back a little bit more into OCD engineer. And why is that important? Well, that's important because when buyers come into your home, if everything is organized and clean and in order and in places that make sense as they should be, it creates in the buyer's mind a sense of attention, a sense of organization in the house, and that they then feel comfortable believing that other things in the house, like the electrical and the things they can't see or might not think about, are probably being paid attention to as well. And hopefully they are. But you want to create that feeling in their mind. If the buyer comes in and everything is crazy and it's...
Or you open a door, you open a cabinet, and there's just anything and everything in that cabinet. Like nothing makes sense.
Right.
You might have anything.
Paint and linen and screwdrivers and milk and just crazy stuff.
And then you're thinking, did they start something and not finish it? Or did they want to start it and never even started it? Where did it go?
Certainly some people can live that way. But and I have a couple.
We all have drawers like that.
I was going to say I have a couple junk drawers, absolutely, that everything goes into. However, not only would we address that before we sold, but that's the kind of thing to think about, and hopefully your realtor's bringing that to the table. Now, the very last thing you do is you find a price, and we've talked about this before. Is that it's not a bad idea as a seller to see if your realtor will show you the homes that are in the price point that you're thinking of listing at, so that you understand why you may or may not get the highest price in the neighborhood or the lowest price in the neighborhood. You know where you fit into this world. All right. It's important to be, well, let me put it this way. You don't have to be the prettiest girl in the room or the prettiest guy in the room. You just need to be the prettiest guy today when your home is for sale. Does that make sense? So think about it in those terms. Your realtor should be helping you with this. If you're just telling your realtor that my neighbor said he got X amount of dollars, and neighbors lie, but we can all see that now, thankfully for the internet, then that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to realize that as well. And if your realtor is suggesting a price, have them explain to you why and where it should be. Again, your realtor should be eager to do that. If your realtor just says, oh, okay, and we'll list it for whatever you want, Mr. So-and-so, that's probably not the realtor you want, because they see the numbers like all of us see them. True. And they know what the numbers are saying. So what they're counting on is that you're eventually going to drop your price and you're going to sell your home for the right amount of money. That's not illegal, but I think it's kind of unethical. but they want the listing. They get paid the same anyway. And you have no frame of reference, understanding you're dealing with someone who was just basically telling you what you wanted to hear.
So kind of what he's talking about is you could schedule a meeting with, say, 2 or 3 realtors, because you're going to interview them. You're going to see what it is that they offer that you might like. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll say, well, I can list your house for this amount. How would they know that? How would they know that your home can be listed at an amount if they've never stepped foot in your home? You have to have a starting point of, why am I going to get the amount I'm going to get?
Yeah,
right?
that's actually a very good point. So to kind of finish the pricing subject off is that when realtors come to the listing interview, they'll often have a price opinion already prepared. Well, what they've done is they've looked at comps based on your square footage and location and made maybe some adjustments. And when I say comps, I mean comparable homes that have sold recently, which are really not the most important ones, frankly, but I'll get to that when I finish. And then they're giving you a pricing opinion. They haven't seen the inside of the house. What if you, I don't know, what if you have, a factory inside your house, or I don't know, who knows what the inside of your house looks like.
What if there's no upgrades?
Farm
what
animals.
if there's no
Right.
upgrades? What if you have the original shag carpet? What if you have
It's absolutely
you're a
impossible.
hoarder? What if you're a hoarder?
It's impossible to have a price opinion before seeing the inside of the home. So right away, any realtor that walks up with a price opinion on their first meeting with you, you should probably just move them off the table and look to the one who's actually there asking questions, looking at things, and having a conversation with you about, the house itself and what have you done and how does it look and how do you feel about it and what's your time frame as far as how fast you have to sell, those types of things, because those are going to drive the price. It
does make a difference as well.
So finally, once all this is finished and you know where your place is in the market, and I want to circle back to something. What has closed is not as important to you as what is for sale. The other thing that's really important to you is what was for sale but has expired. In other words, the market said, we're not paying that for that. And they've canceled the listing or expired listings. So to me, the first interview should really be concerned about, here's what's currently available, because remember, that's the room that your home's going to be in, and what has the market totally rejected, which are going to be the expired listings, most recent expired listings. Those are the 2 most important things for you. And that's going to really weigh heavy as far as what determines what your price is. And finally, when you're finished with all of this and you have a new friend in your realtor, because basically we're going to be super good friends for a number of months, then you go to doors. In other words, you activate the listing. Now your listing is available for the whole world to see, and you can make adjustments there, but you've handled everything else other than price. So you already know that this also comes back to my feeling on feedback. I'm not really concerned about feedback from people who see the home, because we've already handled all of these things ahead of time. Most of the time, realtors will use feedback because they're afraid of their seller. They're afraid of losing the listing.
Sorry to say that.
Yeah. And they'll use other people's words. It'd be like your doctor saying, well, I don't think you have cancer, but these other 5 doctors, man, they think you're in big trouble. What would you like to do? Well, my response is, I'd like to fire you and hire the people who are actually giving me the information that I need right up front without having to have other people tell them that. And so the feedback that I care about are offers. I want to see offers. I don't want to hear about how the rooms are too small, because there's nothing we can do about that, or how it faces a busy street. Again, not the person who's going to buy your house if that's one of the variables that would X them out. Now we're at market. We've done everything we can do. We've handled that which needs to be handled. And the only thing left really is price and time. And, that's where you want to be. That's the only 2 variables you want to have left after you've gone through the process.
So basically, just because a realtor says grab a pen and paper, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because it's going to make your house be ready for the market. Instead of someone telling you what you have to do, it'll already be done.
Right. And remember, guys, as we make this list, you list out everything. It's like brainstorming. It can be really super harsh. But then what you do is you organize it to that which costs the least to do. And maybe there's some big items, at least you know they're there. Maybe the pool needs to be resurfaced or something, or the roof needs to be replaced. You know it's there. You just don't have the money to do it. But if an offer comes in and ultimately one of the repair requests is we want a new roof, you know already that could be a possibility, right? My job is to take as much of the mystery out of this process as possible and to make sure that I explain all the different aspects and possibilities to you. That is why we get paid. So,
and the other thing is knowing that a realtor's walking you through that, knowing that they're preparing you for it, and you get the high dollar for your home. And if something comes back on an inspection, typically it's not a surprise. You already know it. And I think that's the biggest point to it. You already are expecting what that's going to be.
right.
Fair?
You don't want to be surprised.
Right.
All right. Thanks
Surprises
again.
aren't good.
No.
Some are.
Bye.
Bye.